Hello guys, it's Goran from 78 Midnight Howls. In this video I will try not to look at myself in the viewfinder because I usually do that and I'm rambling again. This is the first installment in the Man Up series that me and Chase are doing, and for the first video we have decided to talk about or discuss the topic of self-love through a male perspective. And just by the way, I'm filming in the car because my lighting inside the house is crap, and I had to run some errands in the city, so it's very bright, it's snowing, and I just thought I would use the opportunity and film in here. So without any further rambling, let's start with the topic of self-love. So what I wanted to firstly say about self-love is kind of the biggest accessing vulnerability. Block. I think that's one of the major points when it comes to self-love in any form, whether it's a man, a woman, a child, whatever. When you practice self-love, it is a practice of feeling yourself, feeling into yourself, feeling your thoughts, sensing yourself as a human, in this human experience. And what men have been learning our whole lives is to suppress our emotions, because we have to be strong, we have to be mentally strong, we have to be physically strong, we have to be emotionally strong. It's not even mentioned, we can't have any emotions. So when you think about that and take that into consideration, a self-loving practice for a man is a very hard thing to achieve because of that suppressing we undergo our whole lives, and we are constantly learning that from society around us, that it is not good to feel anything. So when you come to a place where you're like, I want to learn about this shit, it's hard to get a head start when you have to first learn how to feel, what each emotion is, and how it manifests itself in your body and how you express it, which I think that is not specifically just men. It also goes to any other person, women, child, whatever, because I think in a way we are all learning that it's better to just think rationally and leave the emotions, like emotions are child's play, leave that in childhood and just go on to a logical mind and logical thinking and kind of create that organized life without any emotion. Now, I don't know where I want to go next, because it's such a broad topic to cover. So how would you, let's go there. How would you actually start feeling yourself, feeling your emotions? I think the first step is to kind of take time and each day or feel into what it is in your body. Do you feel any pain? Do you feel happiness? Do you feel sadness? Do you feel sorrow, joy, excitement, whatever it is? And just express it, whether that be through words, writing, painting, whatever. Basically just feeling and sensing what it is that your body is doing when a certain emotion is presenting itself in your body. So that feels kind of like a first step. And then from that you can go to other self-loving practices and techniques and all that other for shizzle. I think that's a very important and a great step to take, and it can be very challenging because if you haven't done that throughout your life, stepping into that is a big transition. It's a big scary thing because if you haven't done that, it's an unknown territory to you, and it's uncomfortable and very scary, as I said already, and you just want to run away. But it's important to stay on that track and keep up with what you're doing. So that's kind of how I perceive male self-love, male spirituality. Practice of self-love in male population is presented. What was those? I've written down things I wanted to talk about, but for the life of me, I can't remember what it was. I was wanting to talk about how self-love isn't just a physical a physical manifestation or a physical practice. That's what I wanted to talk about. And that I think with the first kind of a practice that I just told you about, feeling into yourself, taking that, it's kind of a combination of emotional, mental, and
practice
that allows you to kind of get that kind of a more metaphysical look into yourself. What now, I think goes both ways, male and female, is that we tend to self-love with selfishness or arrogance, and through that we kind of develop this this way of looking at self-love as a very physical thing, as a very much, it's not feeling into yourself, it's like dressing yourself so others will tell you you look good, that so then you can feel good. It's that kind of a practice.
So, self-love, back to self-love,
very loving. When you look at it, I've just seen a few things written on the internet by different people, and through the several past years I think the concept of self-love was very much explored in the Divine Feminine. And we had like a huge boom of people just going into that practice and kind of discovering themselves and having a much greater understanding of what their life is, where they want to go, who they are as a person, which is kind of a teaching. The core teaching of self-love is kind of a finding who you actually are, who you want to be, where you want to go. Just kind of a learning that, experiencing that, living in the moment, and just practicing that self-awareness. Just quickly, I wanted to kind of finish this up with saying, which I think I mentioned in the beginning, it's that vulnerability is seen as a weakness, not just in men, in women as well, but I think it's more strongly expressed in men, kind of this sense that if you're vulnerable, you're not a man, or you're not man enough. And it's really fucked up. I think when it comes to self-love as such, when it comes to self-love and seeing vulnerability as a weakness, that's just completely fucked up. It's completely wrong, because being vulnerable is not being weak. Being vulnerable means being honest with yourself, means feeling, means sensing and being aware of who you are and who you want to be and where you want to go. And to say that is a weakness, that is not a weakness. That is passion, that is imagination, that is just pure emotion and thought in its purest form. It's expression, innocent expression, I feel. And vulnerability is strength. It's not vulnerability equals weakness. It's vulnerability equals strength. Because if you look at it, people who have the most success, who are the most balanced people, the most well-organized, just people you want to be around, are people who sense themselves, people who feel who they are, people who understand what they feel and understand that it is natural to feel that, and it's not a bad thing to even express that. And specifically in men, I have many friends who are female, and we talk, and you constantly hear them saying, having issues. They have hard time connecting because they can't feel themselves. How can then they feel someone else? You can try to kind of imagine that, but it's not a real thing. Sorry for the shakiness of the camera because I'm holding it with my hand. You can't feel others if you don't feel yourself first. So that's kind of I know it's very basic, it's very generalized and every single thing, but I feel like that's the biggest issue we have. It's confusing vulnerability with weakness. Vulnerability equals strength. There is so much to say about this stuff. It's hard to condense it into one simple video. So I'm going to leave you now to go over to Chase. If you still haven't, which I hope you did, and if you haven't, go now. I will link his video and his channel and his social media, everything down below. He's a cool dude. Go check him out, Chase Towels. There is the second edition, or I don't know who's first, who's second, the other part of this discussion on this topic of self-love in male perspective. So it has been very, very fun to talk about this, especially because I've been immersed in this for the past few weeks, for the past months actually, because I've been writing this short ebook on self-love, and it's just a topic that I'm really immersed in at this moment, and I feel there is so much detail I can go into. It will be ridiculous, so I'm just going to slide this over as a very generalized, and then we can maybe do another video if that will be something you will be interested in seeing, maybe a more detailed, like maybe practices you can do for self-love and stuff like that as a man, and as a woman. It's gender neutral. Love isn't gender. Love is love. It's everything. It's in everything and anything. So it's not just, oh, I'm man, I'm woman. It's fucked up that we think like that, but it's very much about everything. We are specifically focusing on the male in this series, but even women, you can use that. It's very generalized. That's why I wanted to really kind of generalize the message. So it is specific to men, but it can also be practiced by anyone else. So it has been fun and joyful, and until the next video, goodbye guys, and go over to Chase's channel, go watch his video. Bye. I can't even, I'm just getting angry. I keep looking at myself. I need to stop that. It's very annoying. I know it's annoying when I see people do that, and I can't stop that. So I'm going to just look at that little fucking point. Oh, that's the thing. I can't speak.